We inherit the minds from our parents, from our ancestors. We all know this when we think about the way that we look. I look like my parents, but also my mind and the habits inside my mind are inherited from my parents, from my ancestors. So, what is the mind? So, the mind is basically just like a camera. The human body is a five senses camera. We have our eyes, we have our nose, our ears, our touch, and our taste. And through these five senses, we experience the world and we store that inside of our mind. So if you think about an apple, the real apple that exists in the world is actually the apple. Now, a camera will take a picture of that apple and store the image of that apple inside the film. The human mind works exactly the same. We look at an apple, we taste an apple, we hear the sound of the apple crunch, and then we store concept of apple in my mind. But what's inside my mind is not real. That itself is the picture. The real apple actually exists in the world. What's inside my mind is just a picture. So if you can understand that simple principle, then everything about this meditation is very, very simple. So if we think about the life that we've lived, so from the moment that we were born, this camera was on. It's an automatic camera. So as we're growing up through life, we're taking pictures of family members, who my family is, my parents, and I take a picture of that. That's my mum. And then that picture gets stored inside my mind. My dad, my brothers, my sisters, all of that gets stored inside my mind as a picture. On and on as we go through life, we argue with people, human relationships, all our friends, families, work, all of that gets stored again inside the mind. It happens in the world, but I was living in my mind the whole time. First relationship that I had, boyfriends, girlfriends, all of that also, everything is getting stored inside the mind. So as we go through life, these pictures are just accumulating inside my mind. They're building up. And never once have I let these pictures go. They just keep getting added to my mind. So overthinking, thinking about the house that I need to get, working, and then worrying about how much money I'm going to make. Can I pay the mortgage? Can I afford a house? That also gets stored in the mind. Worrying about it, stressing about it. More and more, all these pictures are just getting added into my mind. Never once, again, have I let those go from my mind. They just keep accumulating inside my mind. Worrying about money, worrying about relationships, worrying about jobs. Am I going to have enough money to live? Am I going to have enough money to pay for the house, for the mortgage? All these things, bosses, work relationships, colleagues, just continuously getting added into my mind, even myself, all the way up until old age. All these ideas about myself is all huge mind mass inside my mind. So this itself is the cause of the overthinking. Never once in our lives did we let any of this go. We just kept adding it into our mind. This is what is the cause of the overthinking. So now, let's think of a situation. Maybe think of a recent situation that you had where you got into an argument with someone. Maybe you got into an argument with a friend or just a random person, or maybe a loved one. When you have that argument, you're both arguing about the different concepts in your mind, your different pictures. So your pictures are actually clashing. So you have this argument with someone, and then you store that argument in your mind. And from the moment that you wake up until the time that you go to bed, you're thinking about that argument. You're overthinking it. I should have said this. I can't believe they said this. Next time I'm going to say this. They were wrong. I was right. Just thinking on and on and on. And the situation has already happened, and I'm just thinking about it continuously. So this itself is actually pretty crazy, right? This is what the human mind is. And even that pattern of just continuously dwelling on something, that pattern is what reinforces the overthinking. And never once did I know how to stop it. Never once did I know how to switch it off. I was always a slave to everything that was going on inside my mind. So then what would the solution be? The solution would be is to let go of all of those pictures, to eliminate. So we're going to talk about that universe where we come from. So we can't draw that infinite universe, but we can represent it like this with a circle. So out of that universe emptiness comes all the stars, the sun, the moon, the earth, and people living on the earth. So if you imagine taking away, if myself disappeared right now, and then the earth disappeared, the stars, the sun, the moon, the emptiness would still be there. So that foundation is actually who we are. That's our true mind. But myself, I'm not living as that. I'm living as the pictures inside my mind, which is actually overlapped over that world. So if we spread it out and illustrate, that universe emptiness is the infinite emptiness that always exists. It's the universe. It's the origin of who we truly are. It's the eternal, never-changing existence. So even if myself doesn't exist, that still always exists forever. It's non-material, yet it's living. It's the truth, and it's what religions have labeled as God, Buddha, Allah. They're all talking about exactly the same thing, and this is our true mind. However, I'm living inside my false mind, which is full of negativity and pictures and stress, and this is the source of all of that. This is a total illusion. It's not real. This is the source and the cause of overthinking. Storing up all those pictures as the burden creates all the worries, the anxieties, and the stress. And this is actually the false mind.